Assalamualaikum brothers and sisters, and welcome to my show Future Stars. I'm your host Alvi Zaidi. And now to start off, before we start with anything, I'd like to say Eid Mubarak to all the viewers, and I hope you're enjoying your Eid day. And now I'd like to introduce our guests to join me about our Eid show. So first of all, I have Sister Zainab, and then I have Sister Sarah. And today's topic is of course about Eid, and because it's an Eid special, we're going to do something very special, and we're going to have 2 craft sessions today. And the first one is going to be making Eid cards like these, and then the second one we're going to be making little keychains like this. And we'll do craft first, and then we'll move on to information about Eid show. And also I'd like to tell my viewers that if anybody would like to phone in, numbers at the bottom of your screen, and you can call in to contribute any facts that you have about Eid, or maybe you'd like to ask a question, or you could even phone in to tell us about your Eid day. And to start off, we are going to make our cards, and we are going to show you how you can simply make a card like this, and it would be great for you to make a card for your family or a friend that you know, and they're handmade, so that makes them even more special. So my guests have their cards ready, and what we're going to do is really simple. As we have before, we're going to use, this is plain card, and we're going to use self-adhesive stickers. So like these that I have here, we've got adhesive stickers saying Eid and then Mubarak and then a little design. So on this one I have a flower, and then for this one I've put on Eid going down here and Mubarak going down here, and then a nice sticker with jewels and foam, and then another flower, and then another flower at the top here. And then another one, which is another design, which you can do, is just straight across Eid and Mubarak, and then a little flower in the corner here, and then again another small flower at the top. So many designs that you can choose from, and my guests, if we'd like to get started. So all you need to do is take a plain card, and you can get these from any craft shops. And then my guests already have these sorted out, but we have foam letters if you just like to take them out and start sticking them on. And these foam letters you can get from any craft shop or any normal shop that may sell stationery. And then what you do is we've already got them out, but you can get a big tub and you can just take out simple letters and then as they're singular, you can just peel off the backs and stick them on. So I'm just putting some stickers back in, as we're not going to need to use them. And then, so I'm going to start off with Eid. So I have an E, and you just, because it's white on the back, you just peel it off and then you stick it on any kind of way that you want to. So I'm just going to stick them straight across, but you can stick them in a design, you can stick them in an arch, or any kind of way that you want. And of course, so it's sticky, so it's just sticking to my finger because it has an adhesive base. And I'm just taking my cards and then just placing them on at the front like so. And then you just stick them on, so I've stuck it on. And what you want to do is just press it down slightly, and then you have your first letter. And then you're going to take the next one. So the next one for Eid is an I, and you just, again, you peel off the back, and if you can catch the back, and then you, of course, don't forget to put your rubbish in the bin, because you don't want your parents getting mad at you for messing up your workspace. And then you stick it on right next to it, and then you can move it around, so you can take it off and stick it back on like so. So now I have E and I, and I'm just going to continue with a D. And then on the back of this D we have a white base, and you need to peel it off. Again, as I said before, you just try to peel it off and it just comes off like so. And then this you have to throw in the bin. You don't want to throw your foam letter in the bin, because then you'll be missing a letter. And then, of course, you don't have to use self-adhesive ones. If you don't have them at home, you can just use a piece of paper. You can draw out your shapes and you can just cut them out and stick them on. And also what you could do is just draw it in. So with a pencil or a colourful pen, you can just write it out onto your card. And also, if you don't have a card, because we already have pre-made cards, you can buy these, but you can also get an A4 piece of paper and fold it in half. For example, so it'll be an A4 size, and you just fold it in half and then meet it at the edge. And then you have your card, and you can open it up like so. And then, so once you've done that, you just you continue sticking them on. And of course, you can put them in any design. So I see Sister Zainab is using an arch, and Sister Sarah is using a slant. And you just continue sticking them on. And of course, you can write it on, or you can stick it, you can draw it on, or whatever that you like to do. And of course, you can write your own message that is personal to the person you're giving it to. For example, if you don't want to write this, you can write Happy Eid, or you can use the same design for a birthday. You can put Happy Birthday on it, or for example, Mother's Day, you can put Happy Mother's Day. And so it's not just a single design that you can use for Eid. So as I've continued, I've got the beginning bit of Mubarak on, and I'm just going to continue sticking them on. And then, of course, once you've finished sticking them on, you can get started with decorating it. So you can decorate it with some jewels like I have here, or you can decorate it with stickers, or you can decorate it with some foam pieces of flowers, which I have in this bag. And then, so I see that Sister Sarah has finished putting her stickers on. So Sister Sarah, if you'd just like to show us how you've decided to place the letters on and explain it a little for us, please.
I've put Eid down here as like kind of slanted, and then I've put it down here, and then I'm gonna just like stick flowers at this side.
Mashallah, that looks really nice, and I can't wait to see the finished product. And Sister Zainab is still busy peeling and sticking on, and of course I have to finish too. And then, of course, so Sister Sarah is moving swiftly on and sticking decorations. Now again, you don't have to use flowers or jewels or anything that you stick on. You can use anything that you want. For example, you could draw something on a piece of paper and stick it on, or you could use stickers, or you could use just a normal pencil and just draw on designs. And so Sister Zainab has finished sticking her labels on. It seems that I am the last to finish. And Sister Zainab, if you'd just like to show us what you've chosen to design and also how you've put it.
I've just done it a little bendy, so it's like a little,
an arch.
Yeah,
yeah,
like an arch.
So, and then what are you deciding to stick on after?
Some gems and one of the foam things.
Right, okay. So I have finished, so it seems that I'm the last to finish, but still, my design is really plain. It's straight across Eid and then straight across Mubarak. But I have all this gap to fill in with flowers or stickers or whatever that you choose, and you can fill it in, and it's personalize it to your taste and to also the person you're giving it to. Now, my guests are busy with that, and I'm going to choose a flower. So I'm just going to reach the... Okay, thank you, Sister Zainab. And of course, if you were watching last week, you might have seen that I used these flowers last week. But these flowers, you can buy a big pack of them, and they last for a very long time. Of course, if you don't use them all in straight in once. And then again, these flowers, as you may have seen last week if you were watching, but if you weren't, don't worry, as I'll just go through them again. You just, same with the letters, they have a white base and you just peel them off and stick them on. So what I'm going to do, just going to pop out the inside of the leaf as it creates a better effect. So now we have a hole in the leaf, and I've chosen a stem and a leaf, and I've chosen a yellow flower because I like yellow flowers. And Sister Sarah is busy sticking and popping out insides and sticking onto her card, and it's going on very well. And also, if any of the viewers would like to phone in and comment on if you're enjoying this, and also do tell us if you have previously made the things that I taught you in craft sessions before. And also, if you can phone in to ask a question, or also tell us about how your Eid-Day is going on. Tell us what you enjoy, or what you have got as presents, or what you're going to do later on this evening. And you can phone in at the number below, and I'm sure that we'd love to hear what you'd like to say. So it's still busy with the craft, and I'm sure that everyone is enjoying it. And the reason that these cards are very nice to make is about that it personalizes your cards, and you can give them with a special message to whoever you want to give them to. So if you want to give them to your mom, your dad, or your grandparents, or if you like to give it to an auntie, then you can personalize it to how they would like it. And I'm just going to stick on what I have here. So again, you just peel off the base, and it comes into two, and you just stick on as it's sticky, and then you can just stick it onto your card. So that's what my two guests are doing at the moment. And so I just popped in the middle, and now I'm going to put in leaves. So again, as before, you peel off the base and you stick them on, which my two guests are very busy doing. Okay, so again, what I've done so far, as I've got leaf here, well, leaves in the stem, and here's the middle, and here's one petal, and I'm still going to continue with this petal, and I'm going to stick it on next to it. And my guests seem to be enjoying this session very much. And of course, as I said earlier, this is not going to be the end of craft, because we are going to continue with another craft after this session. But before we continue with the second craft, what we're going to do is going to just teach you a little bit about Eid, and share some stories and some tips on how to celebrate your Eid day. Now, if my guests would just like to finish off, as we'd like to get through the session. And I think that Sister Zainab and Sister Sarah are enjoying this very much. And Sister Sarah seems to have finished once again the first. And Sister Sarah, if you'd like to show the camera what you've got and explain it a little, please.
I've got the two leaves here, and I've put a flower sticker there and a heart gem in the middle, and I've popped the petals out of the flower, and I've put heart gems inside the petals and in the middle.
Mashallah, that looks very pretty, and that looks really nice, and thank you very much for joining in with it, and I hope that you enjoyed it as well. And Sister Zainab is quickly finishing off her card, and if you'd like to explain to us, as I see you now finish.
I've done a little flower here because I like the colour yellow, and I've popped out the little bits inside because it makes a nice effect. And here I've just put the leaves in, and I've done this colour pink which matches with the card, and I've put some lilac gems in and a blue gem in the middle.
MashaAllah, thank you very much for sharing that with us. And MashaAllah, they are both looking really, really nice. And I hope you enjoyed making them too. So that finishes our Eid card. And mine's not as nice as Sister Zainab or Sister Sarah's. I just have plain Eid Mubarak written straight across and then a flower at the bottom. So that finishes the Eid cards, but before we continue with information, we have a caller on the line. So, hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
So, how are you today?
I'm fine, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
I'd just like to say Eid Mubarak to everyone and keep up the good work.
MashaAllah, Eid Mubarak to you too, and thank you very much. And is there anything you'd like to share with us also?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you very much for calling in. So thank you for calling in, and if anybody else would like to phone in, you can share anything about your Eid day today, or you can ask a question or maybe comment on today's topic, of course, which is Eid, and the numbers at the bottom of your screen. So we've just finished making our Eid cards, and now we're going to move on and give you some information about Eid. So I'd like to start off and give you a passage about Eid al-Fitr, which is the end of Ramadan. So Eid al-Fitr, the end of Ramadan is marked by a big celebration called Eid al-Fitr, the festival of breaking the fast. Muslims are not only celebrating the end of Ramadan, but thanking Allah for the help and strength that He gave them throughout the previous month to help them practice self-control. The festival begins when the first sight of the new moon is seen in the sky. There are several special services outdoors and in mosques, processions through the streets, and of course a special meal eaten during daytime, the first daytime meal that Muslims would have had during the month. Eid is also a time for forgiveness and making amends. During Eid al-Fitr, we dress in our finest clothes, give gifts to the children, and spend time with friends and family. So that's just a small passage explaining about Eid al-Fitr and explaining the celebrations, and we have been preaching and also practice our namazes and stuff. So now we're going to continue with a story by Sister Sarah, and it's a special Eid story.
A brother like that. Shuaib received an automobile from his brother as a Ramadan Eid present. On Ramadan Eid day, when Shuaib came out of his office, a street urchin was walking around with the shiny new car, admiring it. "Is this your car, uncle?" he asked. Shuaib nodded. "My brother gave it to me for Ramadan Eid." The boy was astounded. "You mean your brother gave it to you and he didn't cost you nothing?" "Boy, I wish." He hesitated. Of course Shuaib knew what he was going to wish for. He was going to wish that he had a brother like that. But the lad jarred Shuaib all the way down to his heels. "I wish," the boy went on, "that I could be a brother like that." Shuaib looked at the boy in astonishment, and then impulsively he added, "Would you like to take a ride in my automobile?" "Oh yes, I would love that." After a short ride, the boy turned and with his eyes aglow said, "Uncle, would you mind driving in front of my house?" Shuaib smiled a little. He thought he knew what the lad wanted. He wanted to show his neighbors that he could ride home in a big automobile, but Shuaib was wrong again. "Will you stop where those 2 steps are?" the boy asked. He ran up to the steps. Then, in a little while, Shuaib heard him coming back, but he was not coming fast. He was carrying his little crypt brother. He sat him down on the bottom step, then sort of squeezed up against him and pointed to the car. "There she is, Uncle. Just a little I told you upstairs." This brother gave it to him for Ramadan Eid and did not cost him a penny. "And someday I'm gonna give you one just like it. Then you can see for yourself all those pretty things in the shop windows that I have tried to trying to tell you about.
And Sister Sarah, if I could just stop you there for a moment, and before we get to know what the ending of that story is, we have a caller on the line, so we will go back to the story though. So, hello, Assalamu alaikum. Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Okay, so it seems that the call has dropped, but if you'd like to phone in again, as I'm sure that we'd love to know what you wanted to say. And also, if anybody else like to phone in, the number's at the bottom of your screen, and you can phone in to ask a question or share with us about your Eid day and if you're enjoying it, and also whatever you would like to share with us, and you can comment about today's topic, which is of course Eid. So the number's at the bottom of your screen. So Sister Sarah, please do carry on about the story and finish off the ending.
Shuaib got out and lifted the boy to the front seat of his car. The shining-eyed old brother climbed in beside him, and the three of them began a memorable holiday ride. That Ramadan Eid, Shuaib learnt what Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, meant. He had said, Love for your brother what you love for yourself. Imam Ali alayhi salam said, He who helps you in your time of trouble is your brother.
MashaAllah, thank you very much, and thank you very much for sharing that story with us. So just a simple story explaining about the good deeds that occurred on Ramadan Eid. So as we have been going through Ramadan, it's a good time to give to charity, to do good deeds also, and of course do all of your namazes if you can. And as we know that some may be doing them late, but it's good to do it all on time, as that's what the Prophet said. But Ramadan is not the only time to give to charity or do good deeds, as we can do that throughout the whole year, and that story is just explaining about how it even occurred on Eid. So now we're just going to move on to some tips that I have explaining about, because we're throughout the afternoon of Eid day, I can't really give you tips about preparing for Eid as Eid is almost gone, but I can give you tips about explaining what to do if something is coming along. So for example, if you're going to have a family dinner later on. So how you can help your parents. I know that a lot of children enjoy helping parents, but also want to know what they can do. And of course, parents can't make you cook or anything. So here are these are 10 tips to help. So first of all, manners. So when talking to family members, remember to be kind. I'm sure that all my future stars haven't experienced being told off that much, but manners are something that you should keep, as it's polite, and also you should be talking to family members kindly, and you shouldn't be horrible towards others. And number 2 is be sensible. So for example, if you went to the mosque earlier, then you shouldn't run around as it could disturb others, and also don't run around as it could cause stress to your family. So number 3, now I put down help cook, but I'm sure that any of the young viewers, I'm sure you can't help cook, but you can help get things for your parents when they are cooking, so they don't have to keep going back and forth and have a hard time cooking themselves. So number 4, this goes out to those people who have younger siblings. So if you have a younger sister or a younger brother, you can care for them. So if you see them doing something dangerous, you can quickly stop them so they don't get hurt. Number 5 is to stay happy. So I'm sure that you may have got gifts today, and if you didn't get what you wanted, that doesn't matter. You should be happy that you did get a gift. And don't be sad, as it could ruin the day, but also you should be glad for what you do have and be grateful. So number 6 is be friendly. So if your family members do come around, and if you don't like talking to them very much, you should still try, as it's kind and helpful also, because then you wouldn't be ruining the day also. And then number 7 is be careful not to ruin things. For example, be really careful if you're playing with something, because it might hurt somebody else. And also, when you're eating, be really careful not to spoil your new clothes. And number 8, I'm sure that a lot of like young future stars do not like to hear this, but it is true. So listen to your parents, because they know they are only trying to do what's best for you. And for example, if they tell you not to do something, then you should listen to them, because what they're trying to do is protect you from anything bad that could happen. And number 9 is don't be greedy. So if you're eating a family dinner, then don't try and grab all the food, because it has to go around and you have to share. And number 10 is important. You must have fun. You have to enjoy your Eid day, and don't try and be cautious about everything. You should just relax and be sensible, as nothing bad will happen if you just be sensible. So those are 10 tips on how to help, and I hope that helps you on enjoying them. And now we're going to continue with another story, and this story is by Sister Zainab, and this is another story about Ramadan Eid.
Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and Ramadan Eid. It was a day of celebration and a day of rejoicing. There was an air of festivity in the streets of Medina. All the people, both young and old, were dressed in their best clothes, especially for this special day of Ramadan Eid. As it was time for early morning Ramadan Eid prayers, everyone made their way to an open piece of land on the outskirts of the city of Medina. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, arrived and led the prayers. After they had finished, they all greeted each other, and everyone was walking back home. The children running and playing in excitement, smiling and laughing without a care in the world. As Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, walked back home, he suddenly became aware of a little boy, Zuhair bin Sagir, sitting by himself on the side of the path. The little boy was crying and looked very sad. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, bent down and patted him on the shoulders and asked, "Why are you crying?" "Please leave me alone," sobbed the little boy. The boy didn't even see who was talking to him. The Prophet, peace be upon him, ran his fingers through the boy's hair and very gently and kindly asked him again why he was crying. This time the boy said, "My father was martyred fighting, and now my mother has married again, and my stepfather doesn't want me to live at home anymore. Today is Ramadan Eid, and everyone is happy. All the children have new clothes and nice things to eat, but I don't have any clothes except what I am wearing. I have no food, and I don't even have a place to live in." Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said to him, "I know how you feel. I lost my mother and my father when I was a little boy." The boy was surprised to hear that it was an orphan who was comforting him, and when he looked up, to his great surprise, it was the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and he immediately jumped up to his feet out of the love and respect. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said to him, "If I were to become your new father, and my new wife your new mother, and my daughter your new sister, what would that make you feel better?" "Oh yes, that would be the best thing in the world." The boy started smiling. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, took him home and gave him new clothes and good food on this beautiful day of Ramadan Eid. The boy indeed had a wonderful Ramadan Eid that day. The moral of this story is, we should think of others that are less fortunate than ourselves. On this beautiful day of Ramadan Eid, not everyone has such a wonderful day. It is a day of celebration, but take a moment to stop and think of those who are less fortunate than ourselves by following the sunnah of our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
MashaAllah, thank you very much for sharing that story with us. So just another story explaining about what to do on Ramadan Eid, and also how to behave and how to compose yourself. So thank you for reading that story. So that concludes about information about Eid al-Fitr, and we're going to move on to some more craft after the break. So stay in tune after the break to hear up on how to make these lovely keychains, and they look really difficult but they're very simple. So stay in tune after the break and you know how to make these.
کاروان ہدایت برائے حج 2012 ہدایت ٹی وی علماء کرام کی زیر نگرانی اور رہنمائی میں مناسک حج ادا کیجیے۔ کارواں میں شامل ہونے کے لیے رابطہ کیجیے 01274 294448 اور 0793 032 3292۔ حج کی ادائیگی ہدایت کے ساتھ۔
ہدایت ٹیلی ویژن کے ناظرین کے لیے ایک اور سنہری موقع۔ ناظرین، اب آپ بھی اپنی مجالس، محافل، ایجوکیشنل کیمپس یا کوئی اور دینی ایونٹ ہدایت ٹی وی پر براہ راست نشر کروا سکتے ہیں۔ اپنے دینی ایونٹس ہدایت ٹی وی کے پلیٹ فارم سے دنیا بھر کے 190 سے زائد ممالک میں براہ راست نشر کروانے کے لیے ابھی رابطہ کیجیے 01274294448 یا پھر 01274294449۔
پاک کارگو سروسز لمیٹڈ یو کے میں کامیابی کے بعد اب فرانس اور جرمنی سے اپنی خدمات کا آغاز کر چکا ہے۔ اگر آپ پاکستان یا آزاد کشمیر کے کسی بھی شہر میں اپنے پیاروں کو تحفہ یا پارسل بھیجنا چاہتے ہیں تو ابھی کال کریں 0207 458 4422 بغیر کسٹمز ڈیوٹی کے 100% گارنٹی کے ساتھ، وہ بھی صرف £1.50 سے۔ دھماکہ خیز آفر، 20 کلو سامان پر £5 کا فری واؤچر حاصل کریں۔ پاک کارگو سروسز لمیٹڈ۔
ورلڈ ٹریول بریڈ فوڈ پاکستان اور آزاد کشمیر کے کسی بھی شہر میں اپنی رقوم باحفاظت اور جلد بھیجنے کے لیے ہم سے رابطہ کیجیے۔ منی ٹرانسفر کے لیے سیم ڈے سروس کی سہولت بھی موجود ہے۔ رابطہ کیجیے سید نثار حسین نقوی 0044 1274 496 409 یا 0044 7782 302548۔
World Travel Bradford, cheap flights to worldwide destinations, especially Hajj, Umrah and Ziyarat, India, Pakistan or anywhere in the world. Your first choice, World Travel Bradford, cheap flights to worldwide destinations.
ہدایت ٹی وی کے فاؤنڈرز، ڈائریکٹرز اور تمام ٹیم کی طرف سے معزز ہدایت فیملی کو عید کی خوشیاں مبارک۔
عید الفطر تمام مسلمانان عالم کو اور تمام مؤمنین و مومنات کو، بالخصوص ہدایت ٹی وی کے جتنے بھی خادمین ہیں اور ہدایت ٹی وی سے وابستہ جتنے بھی علماء کرام ہیں اور محبان مہدی اور جتنے بھی محبان ہدایت ہیں، سب کو مبارک ہو۔
Brothers and sisters, and welcome back to the show. And of course, this is Future Stars Eid Special, and this is the Arts and Craft segment. And I'd just like to reintroduce my guests. So we have Sister Zainab and Sister Sarah. And if you have been watching earlier, we made cards earlier, and we did information about Eid al-Fitr. And this is the next segment, and I'll be teaching you how to make these lovely keychains, which you can just loop through here. And these have a really nice effect. They're like a box effect and with a ladder and a different colour on each side. And they look really difficult to make, but they are quite simple, and we'll be going through them with you. So what we have chosen to use, you can use string, you can use I wouldn't advise paper, but you can try it with paper, and you can use it with little rope, you can use it with ribbon or anything like that. And we have chosen ribbon, so I have here a blue ribbon and a dark blue ribbon. Okay, and then I've already started off making it, but my two lovely guests, Sister Zainab and Sister Sarah, have kind of got the hang of it, and they are just starting off. So what you need to do first, I don't have an example, but what you have to do is get 2 colours of ribbon, and you have to fold the ribbon in half and then create a slip knot. So you twist it and then hook through the other side, and then which makes this loop at the top. And then what you need to do is the same for the base, so even though you haven't started doing it already, it's the same kind of principle to get this effect here. Now what you're going to do is really very simple. We have light blue ribbon on either side, so here and across here, and then you have, I've chosen dark blue ribbon, so dark blue ribbon here and across again here. And what you're going to do, you're going to take one colour, so you choose one colour, so you either choose colour A or colour B, and then so you pick up colour A and you loop it across to the other side. So it starts off there, and you take it across to the other side, and then you just do it directly, you don't need to meet it up on any side, and then you have a loop, and then you hold it down like so, and then so you have a loop like so, which started here, but then you have the other part of colour A, and you do exactly the same, you loop it across and you take it to the other side and you hold it down with your finger. So now we have like so, you have 2 loops. Now what you're going to do for colour B, you'll notice that they're on either side, and you're just going to take, so you have your 2 loops here and you have colour B. Now colour B, the strand 1 is closest to this loop here, but instead of putting it through this loop, you're going to place it through the loop behind, so the loop further away from the strand, and then you just place it on the other side. And now you have strand 2 of colour B, and you're going to do exactly the same thing, so it's closest to this loop here, but what you're going to do is you're going to loop it through this one. So you take the strand and you pop it through the loop and you place it on the other side. Oh, just popped. You just pop it through. And now, this bit is quite difficult, but you'll get the hang of it. You need to take, in one hand, you take one strand of colour B and another strand, and the closest here, so the strand closest to strand of colour B, so strand of colour A and strand of colour B in one hand, and you hold it together, and then you take a strand of colour A and colour B again, and you hold it together. And what you're going to do, you've got it in your hand, and you're just going to pull very gently, and then you see it kind of has a weird effect. You can't even see the pattern yet. So you're going to turn it around, hold one colour in one, so in one hand you're going to hold one strand of one colour and one strand of the other, and do the same on the other side, and you're just going to pull it very gently again. And then you can see the pattern forming, so you can see the crisscross pattern of it forming, but it's very loose, so you're just going to keep turning it again, holding one strand of colour B and one strand of colour A, and you just pull it again very gently, and you keep turning it and keep pulling very, very gently until you have a tightened look of this effect. So it'll look like this, but from the side. So that's only one layer. And then of course, as you can see, I've done about that much of it so far, and it creates a looped effect down the side and a box effect as well, as it has 2 colours opposite each other. And then my guests are busy trying to do that, so I'll just go through the steps one more time in case you didn't catch it. So this time I'll use colour A again So what you have is, if you start from the top, you have colour A, then colour B, then colour A, and then colour B. And again, what you're going to do is you're going to take strand 1 of colour A. It doesn't matter which colour you choose or which strand you choose. You just take one strand of colour A and you loop it over to meet the other strand of colour A, like so. So there's strand 2 of colour A, but here's the looped side of it. And then you do exactly the same thing for strand 2. You loop it over and you meet the start of the other strand in the same colour. So now you have 2 loops, like so. And then you have a strand of, this is strand 1 of coloured B. But as you can see, if you see very closely, here's the start, here's one loop, and then, but instead of taking it and putting it through the nearest loop, you're going to take strand 1 of colour B and put it through the furthest loop. So instead of putting it through this one, you'll put it through this loop here. And then you just push it through the loop and you pull it through, like so, and you just leave it on the other side. And then you take strand 2 of colour B and you place it again. So this is the so if I turn it around, you can see here is strand 1 of colour B, which has been pulled through, so this is the other side. But this is strand 2 of colour B, and here's the furthest loop away from it. So you just place it through that loop. And then, so it's gone through that loop, and you just pull it fairly gently. And then you can see you have the effect on it, but it's not tight at all. So what you need to do is, so you take strand 1 of colour B, and as you can see, I'm holding colour A in my thumb here. You pick that one up along with this strand. So as you can see, it's together now, and you just hold it in your hand, in one hand. And then you can see here is strand 2 of colour A, and here is another strand of colour B, and you hold these two together, and then you pull very gently, and then you can see it's kind of a rectangle shape. It hasn't taken the form. So you've been pulling like this, so you'll turn it and swap the strands. So you still have one of colour A and one of colour B. It's just different from what you first used. And you pull it tightly again. Then you turn it again, take 2 strands again. So they're 2 different strands. And then you pull it tightly again. And then if you continue to turn and swap strands, you'll see that it's forming very neatly into the little box effect here, and it has a looped effect of it all entwined together. Now I'll just go through it one more time in case you haven't caught up yet, just one more time. And you're going to take, I'm just going to go through it fairly fast. You do colour A, you take it over to the other side, and you can do fairly big loops, and so you can have enough space to put the other strand in. So you take strand 2 of colour A and you pull it to the other side, creating 2 loops, the loop of strand 1 and the loop of strand 2. And then, so you have the loops, and just like that, but you see, here's strand 2 and here's the loop of strand 2. Now strand 1 of colour B is closest to strand 2 of colour A, but instead of putting it to strand 2, you pull it through colour A strand 1, so the one which is further behind as its opposite. So you just pull it through, so just show my guess, you pull it through and you gently pull it, and then you just drop it through on the other side. And then you do exactly the same. So this is strand 2 of colour B, and the closest loop is strand 1 colour A. But you're not going to put it through that one, you're going to put it through strand 2 of colour A. You pull it through like so, and you drop it. And then, I know tightening it is a bit difficult, so what you're going to do is, you see here, you've just dropped it through, which is strand 2 of colour B, and you're going to take strand 1 of colour A, which is holding next to it as you've just gone over. So you hold it together like so, and then you hold together this strand with the other strand. Okay, and then if it falls apart, you just do it again. So you loop the 2 over, and you get one strand, you get the strand closest to you and push it through the loop that's further away from you, and you just drop it over. And then you get the strand furthest away from you and pull it through the loop that is closest to you. Once you've done that, you take one strand of each colour in one hand and one strand of each colour in the other hand, and you just tighten it together, and then you turn it and tighten it again, and turn it and tighten it again. And if you keep doing that, you'll notice that this is starting to form, and you have that lovely grid pattern in the middle. And then once you've finished doing that, so I haven't quite finished, but I'll just show you what to do when you've finished. You still have 2 colour A and 2 colour B. What you do, you take 1 colour A and 1 colour B, so strand 1 and strand 2. So strand 1 of colour A and strand 1 of colour B. You just take it in your hand, like so. And you take the other 2 strands, so 1 of each colour, and you just hold it together, and then you place right over left and put left through the loop that you've created. So it's just creating a simple knot, so it's right over left, and here you have a loop through here, and you put left through the loop so it comes out the other end, and you just pull, and you just created a simple knot. And then you're going to create another knot, but this time you put left over right and put right, you put left over right and put right through the loop, and then once you've done that, you pull, you just pull it together, and it's created a double knot, and the double knot finishes your design off, and then you have a same box effect but as a knot, and then you finish with your keychain. So like the one I have here, it's just finished with a double knot. And then you can cut these strands off, but you might want to keep a little piece like this little one here, as you don't want it to fall apart. And then when you created the slip knot earlier, you have a little hole, a little gap, which you can use to put through a little chain, or you can add a little keychain holder from a normal craft shop. And then once you've done that, you've finished. So that's very simple, and I believe Sister Sarah would like to show us hers, and if you'd just like to explain it a little.
I've done it all the way up to here, and then I've got one of my strands and I wrapped it round and I knotted it, and then I just pulled it so it gets tighter.
Mashallah, thank you very much, and thank you for sharing that with us, and thank you for sharing your design with us too. And Sister Zainab hasn't quite finished hers, and she'll be finishing hers off later. And I believe that Sister Zainab and Sister Sarah have both enjoyed today's session, and I hope you have. And I hope that the viewers have enjoyed today's craft session. And also I'd like to finish off with saying thank you. So thank you Sister Zainab and thank you Sister Sarah for coming along today and joining in with the craft, and also with some information about Eid. And also I'd like to thank you to the callers who phoned in and shared their thoughts with us. And I'd like to say thank you very much to all the future stars out there. I hope that you enjoyed today's Eid special. I hope that you enjoyed making cards and also enjoyed knowing how to make these small keychains. And I'd like to say thank you very much for watching, and join me next week for another Future Stars episode with the craft segment. So this was Future Stars with craft and an Eid special, and I'm your host Alvi Zaidi, so Khuda Hafiz.